Hi folks, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. What you see in the vise is a tip of the hat to the purple snipe. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise then is a Hanak H270 barbless hook. This one's at size 14. It's on a medium wire and it's in black nickel. Now there's a pronounced bump on this barbless hook, which is great for wet flies. It's probably one of the techniques where you hook more fish than you actually catch. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you're fishing wets, you know, for every sort of take and hookup you get, you maybe get 2 out of the 5 takes to the net. It's a very hit and miss method. So this little pronounced bump does help with keeping the fish on the hook. Now, the thread I'm going to be using today is from Semperfli. It's the Nano silk, it's in black and it's at 12 volt. And the first thing I'm going to do is add a tiny touch of super glue to the shank of the hook, and I'll get a bed of thread starting just in behind the eye, down the shank. And I'm going to stop just on the pronounced bump and remove my waste. Now the purple snipe, I mean, you know, if you've done any kind of fishing or fly tying, it's a very famous pattern, and this is a little bit of homage to the pattern, if you like. So what I'm using for the body is some Troutline ribbing fibres. As you can see, this one's coloured purple, and again it's a really deep purple. I'm going to use my thumb to just flatten out a little bit that I'm going to catch in on my side. I'm going to just try and keep it as neat as I can all the way up, and I'm going to stop approximately 1/8 of an inch from the eye of the hook. Then carefully I'm going to get my first turn onto the bare shank, and then I'm going to come up in touching turns. I'm not putting any pressure on this at all. I don't want the rib to flatten out. I want to keep it just how it is, nice and thick. And it's really difficult to appreciate the colour you're sort of getting with this, because it's on black and I'm not sure how well the camera is going to pick up the colour, but it is once the finished fly, I'll stick a macro photograph up in a second, and you can see that you get a really nice effect. So I've caught several turns in front of the material so that it doesn't spring back on me. Then I can remove that. Now before I go on, I could just leave it just as is, because it's a very robust material, and it would certainly take several fish before you had any problems with the body disintegrating. But just as well as making it even more robust, a little layer of UV resin does make this light up. So I'll just catch a layer on, and I was using Solaris Bone Dry there, and I've just caught a very thin layer of resin. Now how well you can see that on camera, but when I'm putting the UV pen in to cure the resin, I can see it really lighten up purple. Looks fantastic. Just make sure it's properly cured. Now just in behind my hackle, I'm going to add a small hotspot, and I'm going to be using some micro flash dubbing. This is the Hends multi-pack, and I'm going to select a tiny amount of the number 18, which is the deeper purple colour. I've probably got far too much in my hand, but I can always just test and adjust. I only want the tiniest of bumps in behind the hackle. And what this does is it ensures that the feather, the hackle, opens up, keeps open on the body, so you get that sort of teardrop effect, if you like. So I do have snipe, but this is as I said, it's a tip of the hat to the purple snipe. It's not a purple snipe itself. So I'm going to try some French partridge, and I've selected a feather from the cape, and what I want to do is get rid of all the waste near the bottom end of the feather, and it'll give me this sort of handle that I've got here. Now, a lot of people, wet flies, let's not get the Yorkshireman started, but some people like big bushy hackles, some people like very fine hackles, and some like something in between. I'm a kind of, I like all three, and I do tie in various different styles, but on this occasion I'm going to tie quite a sparse hackle. Now this feather's obviously going to be too heavy, so what I'm going to do is select one side that I'm going to strip away, like so. So I've got one side of the feather stripped off, and what I'm going to do next is grab my hackle pliers. I'm just going to, I'll try and do this on camera, just going to grab the tip, slick back, so I've got a tag, like so, and then before I catch that in, I'm going to just get the tiniest amount of wax onto my thread, come over, catch my tag in, and by adding the wax, it just makes sure it doesn't slip out when you're tying. Then I can come in with my scissors and remove my tag. Okay, so far so good. Next then, I'm going to come back to my hackle pliers. I mean, some people would just use their fingers and turn it that way. I like to use the hackle pliers, gives you a lot more control, and I'm looking for about 2 turns. So there's one, just help fan that out a little, and the second turn I'm going to come in with my thread and come through to catch that hackle in. Now, some people think this is too sparse, some people think this is too heavy, believe it or not, but I'm happy with 2 turns of a single sided feather. Then I'm going to sweep it back, just got a stray fibre there, so I'm going to come in again, make sure I catch that in, and once I've created the head, I can then pull away the fibre. As you can see, you get a nice sparse hackle, and you're going to get a lovely teardrop effect once that's wet. So next, I'm going to come in with my whip finish tool and just build up the head like so. And I can remove my thread, and there we go. Now you can finish the fly off with head cement, UV resin, touch of super glue even will do the job. But there you have my little homage to the purple snipe. Thanks very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you leave, and I'll see you all next time.